Right, gents, let's have a little talk about our midfield future. We kind of alluded to it a little bit, Conor, when we talked about Curtis Jones, but what do we think happens with his contract? You know, Inter Milan's name has been doing the rounds again in the media over the last couple of days. We know that Liverpool aren't going to want to get to a position where they lose Curtis Jones for free. So are they going to roll the dice and go into another year, let's say, with a player running down that contract that could potentially leave on a free? Two Scousers walking out the door for next to nothing, pretty much on frees. It'd be difficult to take. So what happens? Does he get a new deal or does he leave?
Oh, it's really hard to guess, isn't it? It's like my instincts will be to say if there's a different manager next season, maybe he stays and maybe extends halfway through if he's happier. But I think it is at this point, it must just be a case of he wants to go and play regular football. And unless he's guaranteed that here, he probably will leave. And I'm sure the club will want to get a few quid for him. So if I had to guess, I'd probably say he leaves in the summer, which will be, I think, be very sad because, like, I'm a big fan of Curtis Jones. I think he's like the proper, like, he's like the ultimate squad player. Like, he's just good enough to come into the team, not good enough that he's going to be banging down the door saying I have to start every week, and like he's good enough to step in. Like, I think he's just the perfect epitome of a squad player. But I can understand from his point of view. Like, he's at, I don't know what age he is now, but he's at the stage now where he needs to be like starting every single game. And if he goes to Inter Milan, if he goes to Spurs, if he goes to wherever, then I won't begrudge him, but I will miss him.
And most importantly, Chris, he passes the eye test. And what I mean by that is I can see him in an Inter Milan shirt. Because that's a test for me with players, genuinely. Like, there's some players I just cannot, like, I couldn't see Mohamed Salah in a Barcelona shirt. I just couldn't see that happen. I could see him in a Real Madrid shirt. Certain players I just think with clubs, and when I thought about Curtis Jones, I could see him in an Inter Milan shirt.
Yeah, he's got Serie A vibes. I could see him in any, like,
he's have a bit more time, and that's the thing that we criticize him for, is taking too much time on the ball. I mean, I could see him in Serie A having a bit more time.
Yeah, I love him, man. But he's got to go for his own career. Like, if he wants to really go on and become maybe a regular fixture in the England team and become a top midfielder, he won't do that at Liverpool, which is hard to say, really. There's a lot of, I just think he's never going to ever be first choice. But what he has done is he had a brilliant career so far. He's won loads of trophies. If he wanted to stay, amazing. But I just think for his own good, I think he probably should go. It just wouldn't be great for us because that's another homegrown player gone. I'd probably sell him this summer if we could, try and get 20, 30 million for him and move on. But yeah, it'd be for him, I want him to leave, but for us, I want him to stay.
I have to say on this one, I never would have guessed it would have got to this situation, because he was one of the players that seemed to really excel under Arne when he came in, really kind of lift up his game to another level, talked about how suited the way Arne wants to play was for him. I've always admired the fact that whatever you think about Curtis Jones, he doesn't shy away from wanting the ball. He does not hide on a football pitch, never has, never will. So whatever does happen, I agree with Chris. My heart wants him to stay, but if I'm in his shoes, yes, there's the lure of staying and being that one club man, maybe, but you want to play. Footballers want to play. They've short careers, and let's wait and see what happens. But whatever does happen, again, wish Curtis Jones nothing but the best. So moving on now to, let's try Alexis McAllister. Let's talk about him, Conor, because another name that has been loosely linked with a move away. Real Madrid apparently circling, looking at him. Somebody asked me a question that bears no significance. It was just an interesting talking point. Would I do a part exchange or a swap deal for McAllister and Valverde if Real Madrid wanted to sell one and bring the other in? And I have to say, I'd take it. I'd be a buyer.
Yeah, I'd be open to that, especially if McAllister did want to leave. Like, I think if we were to deal with Madrid again, it would be nice to get something off them more than just a few quid, like, wouldn't it? And Valverde will be a brilliant option to come in, so would have no issue with that. Don't think it's overly realistic, but yeah, definitely the McAllister to Madrid stuff just doesn't really seem to be going away, does it? And I think even, like, was his father at some point was speaking about as well, and there's just constantly chatter in Spain and the World Cup coming up as well. Like, there was chatter if he plays well there, then maybe Madrid do come in with an offer. But I'd be interested to see, like, would the club consider selling him? Like, if he was kind of 50-50 on wanting to go, like, how much would we actually want to get rid of him? Because I'd say it would have to be a fairly significant fee, wouldn't it? It'd have to be like, what, 70, 80 million at least? And Madrid don't tend to do that, like.
That's where it falls down for me, Conor. Exactly what you said there. I don't think Madrid have the money to come in and throw it around for him. I mean, there was a comment from I think wasn't it the one of the representatives of Florian Wirtz, not his father, but the guy who does his commercial stuff, was saying that Madrid didn't have the money to bring Wirtz in at the time. And I struggle to see a world without maybe a part exchange, Chris, which is kind of unusual in football, really, more than we think it is. I just don't see them coming up with a number that would get it done. That being said, though, it's I do think if we bring in a DM, we do have the wiggle room to lose an 8 or a central midfielder from the team. And I think that will be the most likely scenario, is that it is one of McAllister or Jones.
Yeah. To be honest, I'd hate to lose McAllister. I know he's had a struggle season, but we can't forget how amazing he was last season. He was unbelievable. And look,
I love his tenacity as well. I love his tenacity.
And since he arrived at Brighton, you know, he's someone who's just so smooth on the ball, beautiful passer. You know, I scored an eye for a goal, as we saw last week and today. It'd be a real tough one to lose, but I think we've said it before. Like, I've got a feeling there's just as you can say, you can see people in a shirt like that. That's the sort of vibe I get with McAllister and Real Madrid. But I hope he stays. And if Jones leaves, we have to keep hold of him. We can't let go of both of them. If Valverde was involved, though, that's a different conversation. Because I think, well, it's a shame really, because I think he would have been like one of the most perfect Jurgen Klopp midfielders you could have got.
Klopp love Valverde. I've heard him praise him on a few occasions. Yeah, he's Uruguayan as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely in the plus column. I love the Uruguayan mentality.
Absolute, just like win at all costs, proper. Yeah, amazing. But yeah, I unless someone like of that caliber was involved, it would be really ridiculous to try and to lose McAllister.
What would his value be, as Conor said, though? If you're talking about somebody with 2 years left to go in his deal, World Cup winner, Premier League winner, maybe a Champions League winner for all that's the plan this year, what would his valuation, a fair market valuation, be?
100 million, I think, would be his valuation.
What age is he now? 27?
Yeah, in the peak of his career, like 2 years left. Get him now for 100 mil. That would be
Real Madrid do like that type of signing, by the way. That when Modric came in late, somebody that can probably still do 5-6 years in La Liga in that Madrid team. So if the numbers added up, I think it would make sense for Madrid. But like you touched on, Conor, I can't see them coming up with a number. And I think, as Chris said, you're talking certainly upwards of 80 million.
Yeah, I think it'd have to be at least 75 or 80 million to even consider it from Liverpool's point of view. Like I said, 2 years left in his deal, not exactly coming to the very end, but like I couldn't see any other team coming in giving us that either, to be fair. Like who, like unless it's PSG or someone, but like Madrid probably is the most likely destination if he does leave. But yeah, I don't know if they'd be willing to wait another 3 years to get him for free or not. And maybe that's the scenario we're in. Maybe we're seeing him run down his contract at some point. But what was that?
It's what they do, isn't it, Madrid?
Yeah, that's the problem. But yeah, outside of that, I just can't see him pulling up that much money. That's just not what they do.
And the other two midfielders I wanted to bring up, I guess we'll throw them both into the same conversation. It was Dominic Szoboszlai and Ryan Gravenberch. Obviously, both, Chris, in similar contractual situations to Alexis McAllister, 2 years to go. Look, Szoboszlai's got to be the first one that you start those conversations with. Like, it's absolute lunacy if you're not kicking down his agent's door now trying to get him in. But Gravenberch is an interesting one, because if you bring in a DM, you know, what type of wages do you put on offer then for Ryan Gravenberch to try and get him to stay? Because he's probably one contract negotiation behind Szoboszlai in that level of seniority, in my mind, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think even if we bring in a DM, he's playing most weeks. Like he's been really, really good. Even this season, like there's been a couple of performances recently where he's not been as defensively on it, but I think overall he still had a decent season. Last season he was brilliant. Yeah, I think you know he will be one of the top. I think Szoboszlai will be one of the top earners, and let's not forget, like we're losing Mo Salah. We're probably going to be losing Mo Salah's wages plus probably Van Dijk's wages in 2 years, so you can offset those two. Alisson's as well. Who knows? His contract's coming up at the end of the season. He'll probably get a 1 year extension, but that's another.
I think the club have. I think his contract's up. The club have the option, right, to trigger to 2027.
Yeah. So and they will do that because he's still brilliant. But yeah, there's a lot of wages coming off, and we, you know, these sort of level of players, I think we definitely should be all over it. But yeah, Szoboszlai for me will probably be Liverpool captain in 2 years' time. So let's make sure that we have him tied and made sure he's feeling like a senior player, because he should be.